This is exactly what happens in real life, and we'll learn English from it. Ahmed had been searching for a job for months. Every day he would wake up early, prepare his CV, and go to different offices in the city. But every time he heard the same words, "We will contact you later." One morning, he received a call for an interview at a well-known company. He felt both excited and nervous. He ironed his shirt 3 times and left home early. On the way, he kept repeating answers in his mind. When he reached the office, he saw many other candidates sitting there. His heart started beating faster. "What if I fail again?" he thought. Finally, his turn came. He entered the room, greeted the panel, and sat down. At first, his voice was shaky, but slowly he relaxed. He started speaking honestly about his skills and struggles. The interviewers listened carefully. One of them asked a difficult question. Ahmed paused for a moment, then answered honestly instead of pretending. After the interview, he left the room thinking he had failed again. But 3 days later, he received a call. "Congratulations, you are selected." Ahmed couldn't believe it. That day, he learned that honesty and confidence matter more than perfection. Sarah was traveling to another city to visit her aunt. She reached the railway station in a hurry because she was already late. Without checking properly, she got on the first train she saw. After 1 hour, she noticed something strange. The names of the stations did not match her route. She asked a passenger and realized she was on the wrong train. Instead of panicking, she smiled nervously. She got off at the next station and tried to find a way back. There was no direct train, so she had to take a bus. It took her extra 5 hours to reach her destination. She was tired, hungry, and frustrated. But when she finally reached her aunt's house, everyone was happy to see her. Her aunt laughed and said, "At least you reached safely." That day, Sarah learned an important lesson. Always double-check before you start a journey, whether in travel or in life. It was a heavy rainy evening in the city. Roads were full of water and people were rushing to go home. Imran was waiting for a bus under a small shop roof. Suddenly, he saw an old man struggling to cross the road. The water was deep and he was slipping. Everyone was watching, but no one moved. Imran quickly ran towards him. He held the old man's arm and slowly helped him cross the road. The old man was shaking and completely wet. After reaching the other side, the old man said, "Thank you, my son. May God bless you." Imran just smiled and went back to the bus stop. He didn't feel like a hero. It was a small action for him. But another person standing there saw everything. He took Imran's picture and later shared it online. The story spread and people praised him. Imran felt shy when he saw it. He said, "I just did what anyone should do." That day taught him that small kindness can sometimes become a big inspiration. Bilal had been waiting for months to buy a new smartphone. He finally saved enough money and bought it. He was very happy and took good care of it. One evening while walking home, he accidentally dropped it. The screen completely broke. He stood there silently, shocked. For a few minutes, he didn't know what to do. Then he sat on a bench and just looked at the broken phone. Instead of crying, he smiled a little. He thought, "It's just a phone. I still have my hands, my health, and my family." He went home and told his parents. They expected him to be very upset, but he was calm. Later, he repaired it, but something inside him had changed. He stopped worrying too much about small things. From that day, he realized that happiness does not come from things, it comes from peace of mind. Fatima had just completed her studies and got her first job as a school teacher. She was very excited but also nervous. It was her first day in front of students. When she entered the classroom, all the students became quiet and stared at her. Her hands were slightly shaking. She introduced herself with a soft voice, but one student started talking loudly. Then another laughed. She felt confused for a moment. Instead of getting angry, she smiled and said, "Let's make this classroom a place where we learn and enjoy together." Her calm behavior changed the atmosphere. Slowly, the students became quiet and started listening. By the end of the day, she felt confident. One student even came and said, "Miss, you are nice." She went home smiling. That day, she learned that patience is more powerful than anger. It was the night before Ali's final exam. He had planned to study everything in advance, but like always, he kept delaying. "I still have time," he said to himself. At 10 p.m., he opened his books but got distracted by his phone. 1 hour became 3 hours. Suddenly, it was 2 a.m., and he had only covered half the syllabus. Panic started building in his mind. He tried to focus, but nothing made sense anymore. His heart was beating fast, and he felt pressure for the first time. Finally, he decided to sleep for a few hours instead of continuing in stress. In the morning, he quickly revised important topics and went to the exam hall. The paper was not as difficult as he expected. Many questions were familiar. He managed to pass with decent marks. After the result, he realized something important. Last-minute stress is worse than slow preparation. From that day, he promised himself never to delay important work again. One busy afternoon, Sarah went to the market for shopping. She bought some clothes, food items, and paid for everything quickly. Then she went home. When she reached home, she realized her wallet was missing. Her heart dropped. All her money, cards, and ID were inside it. She immediately went back to the market, checking every shop she visited. She asked people, but no one had seen it. Feeling hopeless, she sat on a bench for a moment. She kept thinking, where did I lose it? Just then her phone rang. A shopkeeper from the market called her. He said, "You left your wallet here." Sarah rushed back and found it safely kept under the counter. She was so relieved that she almost cried. She thanked the shopkeeper many times. That day she learned two things. Be careful with your belongings and trust that kind people still exist. It was a sudden rainy evening. Imran was walking home from work without an umbrella. Within minutes, the rain became heavy. He stood under a shop roof, waiting for the rain to slow down. Many people were doing the same. After a while, he noticed a young student standing in the rain, fully wet and shivering. The boy had no umbrella and looked confused. Imran thought for a second, then called him over. He shared his umbrella and said, "Let's walk together." They walked slowly in the rain. The student didn't talk much at first. But then he smiled and said, "Thank you, sir." When they reached a point where they had to separate, the boy said, "You saved me from getting sick." Imran just smiled and said, "It's nothing." But inside he felt warm. That small moment made his day better. He realized kindness doesn't cost money, just a little care. Hamza started his first job at a small office. He was excited and wanted to impress everyone. His manager gave him an important task and said, "Please complete this carefully." Hamza worked hard and finished the task quickly. But instead of double-checking, he submitted it immediately. Later, the manager found several mistakes in the work. Hamza was called into the office. He expected strict punishment, but instead, the manager calmly said, "Speed is good, but accuracy is better." Hamza felt embarrassed. He apologized sincerely. From that day, he changed his approach. He started checking his work twice before submitting anything. A few months later, he became one of the most reliable employees in the office. He learned that trust is built with quality, not speed. It was Fatima's birthday, but she didn't expect anything special. Her family was busy, and she thought everyone had forgotten. She went through her day normally, cooking, cleaning, and doing her usual work. She didn't even mention her birthday. In the evening, her younger brother asked her to come outside for a moment. She was confused but followed him. When she opened the door, she saw her family standing there with a small cake and balloons. It wasn't expensive or fancy, but it was full of love. Her eyes became emotional. She didn't expect it at all. They sang happy birthday, and she smiled with tears in her eyes. That simple moment made her day unforgettable. She realized that love is not about big gifts, it's about small surprises from the heart. Ali was a simple young man living in a busy city. He was not rich, not very successful, and not very confident either. But he had one dream: to get a good job and change his life. Every morning he would wake up early, sit in front of his old laptop, search job websites, and send his CV again and again. Some days there was no response at all. Other days, he received rejection emails that slowly broke his confidence. Still, he kept telling himself that one day something would change. One morning, he woke up late because his phone battery had died during the night and his alarm did not ring. He suddenly opened his eyes, saw the time, and quickly got up in panic. He rushed to get ready, skipped breakfast, and left the house as fast as he could. He had an important job interview that day, one he had been waiting for a long time. On his way, he kept thinking, what if I am late? What if I miss this chance? What if this is the only opportunity I get? His heart was beating fast when he reached the bus stop and luckily caught a bus just in time. At first, everything felt normal. People were sitting quietly, some were talking, and the city was moving outside the window. But after about 20 minutes, the bus suddenly stopped. The driver announced that there was a heavy traffic jam ahead and it would take a long time to clear. Ali looked at his watch and felt his stomach drop. He was already getting late. He asked a passenger if there was any other route, but the man said there was no faster option. Ali felt helpless. He kept staring outside, thinking about the interview. He remembered how hard he had prepared, how many times he had practiced introducing himself in English, how carefully he had dressed, and how much hope he had for this job. Slowly, panic started building inside him. After waiting for a few more minutes, he made a decision. He got off the bus. People looked at him strangely because the traffic was heavy and the road was long, but he didn't care. He started walking fast. Soon he began running. Sweat formed on his face, his breathing became heavy, but he did not stop. He kept repeating in his mind that he must reach. He cannot lose this chance. He must try at least. After almost half an hour of walking and running between traffic, he finally reached the office building. But when he looked at his watch, his heart sank again. He was already 10 minutes late. He slowly entered the building, feeling nervous and tired. At the reception, he said he was here for the interview. The receptionist looked at him and said the interview had already started. Ali felt like everything inside him stopped for a moment. He sat outside the interview room, feeling disappointed and lost. He thought maybe he should have left earlier, maybe he was unlucky, maybe this was not meant for him. Other candidates were walking in and out confidently, and he felt very small compared to them. Time passed slowly, and he kept waiting without knowing what would happen next. After some time, a man came out from the room and called his name. Ali stood up quickly, surprised. The man asked him to come inside. Ali hesitated and said he was late, but the man repeated calmly that he should just come in. He entered the room nervously and saw 3 interviewers sitting in front of him. The atmosphere was serious. One of them immediately said that he was late. Ali lowered his head and apologized. He explained everything honestly, that the bus was stuck in traffic, and he had to walk a long distance to reach there because he did not want to miss the opportunity. The room became silent for a few seconds. Then one of the interviewers asked him why they should consider him when he could not even come on time. Ali took a deep breath. Instead of making excuses or trying to impress them with fake confidence, he spoke honestly. He said he knew he was late and he accepted that mistake, but he had not given up. He said he walked all the way because he didn't want to lose this chance. He said he might not be perfect, but he was hardworking and honest, and he always tried his best even in difficult situations. There was silence in the room again. The interviewers looked at each other. Then one of them smiled slightly and said that most people would have made excuses, but he didn't. Another said that his effort already showed his dedication before the interview even began. Ali didn't understand what was happening. His heart was still nervous. After a short discussion between them, they finally told him that he was selected. For a moment, Ali could not react. He just stood there silently. Then he slowly asked if they were serious. They nodded and repeated that he had been selected. He felt like he was dreaming. All the stress, fear, and disappointment suddenly turned into relief. He thanked them and walked out of the room feeling different. The world outside looked brighter. The same streets, the same buildings, the same city, but everything felt changed inside him. That day, Ali learned something very important. Life does not always go according to plan. Problems will come unexpectedly. Things will go wrong even when you try your best. But what matters most is effort, honesty, and the ability to keep moving forward even when everything seems against you. He realized that sometimes failure is just a step before success, and giving up too early is the only real failure. Sarah had always been a careful and responsible girl. She worked in a small office and lived alone in a rented apartment in a busy part of the city. Every day she followed the same routine: wake up early, get ready, take the bus, work for 8 hours, and return home tired but satisfied. Life was simple, but she liked it that way. One day she had to travel to another city to meet her aunt. It was an important visit because she had not seen her aunt for many years. She packed her bag the night before, kept her clothes ready, and even checked the bus timings twice. She wanted everything to go smoothly. The next morning she woke up early, finished her breakfast, and left the house on time. The bus station was crowded, but she managed to get a seat. She felt relaxed because everything was going according to plan. She looked outside the window, enjoying the moving scenery and thinking about how her aunt would react when she saw her. After some time, she decided to rest a little. She closed her eyes for a few minutes, thinking she would reach her destination in a couple of hours. But she didn't realize that this small moment of relaxation would change everything. When she opened her eyes, the environment looked different. The road, the people, even the station names were unfamiliar. At first, she thought maybe the bus had taken a different route, but soon she felt something was wrong. She quickly asked a passenger sitting next to her where the bus was going. The man looked at her and said the name of a city she had never heard of before. Her heart started beating faster. She checked the bus route board and realized in shock that she was on the wrong bus. For a moment she could not believe it. She kept thinking maybe it was a mistake, maybe she misunderstood. But it was true. She had boarded the wrong bus without noticing. Panic started building inside her. She immediately went to the conductor and asked how she could go back. The conductor calmly told her that she would have to get off at the next station and then take another bus back. There was no direct return from there. She felt frustrated and helpless. She got off the bus at a small station. It was not a busy place like she was used to. The area was quiet and she did not feel comfortable. She stood there for a moment trying to think clearly. Her original plan was completely broken. She was supposed to reach her aunt by afternoon, but now she had no idea how long it would take. She felt like crying, but she controlled herself. After a few minutes, she decided to stay calm. She reminded herself that panicking would not solve anything. She asked a local shopkeeper about transportation options. The man kindly explained that she would need to take a local bus first, then change to another bus to reach the main city again. She followed his instructions. The journey became long and tiring. She had to wait at small stops, change buses twice, and deal with confusion at every step. At one point, she even felt like giving up and staying somewhere for the night. But she kept going. During the journey, she started observing people around her. She saw how strangers helped each other, how drivers guided lost passengers, and how life continued even in small towns far from the city she knew. Slowly, her frustration turned into curiosity. After many hours of travel, she finally reached her aunt's city. It was evening by then. She was tired, hungry, and mentally exhausted, but she still had to reach her aunt's house. She took a taxi and finally arrived. When she knocked on the door, her aunt opened it and was shocked to see her. For a moment there was silence, and then her aunt hugged her tightly. Her aunt asked, surprised, why she had arrived so late. Sarah smiled weakly and told her everything: the wrong bus, the confusion, the long journey, and all the difficulties she faced. Instead of being upset, her aunt laughed softly and said that sometimes life creates unexpected journeys just to teach us something important. Sarah sat down, finally relaxed. While eating food with her aunt, she reflected on everything that had happened. She realized that if she had not taken the wrong bus, she would never have experienced that long and unexpected journey. She would never have seen new places, met kind strangers, or learned how to stay calm in difficult situations. That day, she understood something deeply. Mistakes are not always bad. Sometimes they take us off our planned path, but they also teach us lessons we would never learn otherwise. She realized that life is not always about perfect planning. Sometimes it is about how we handle unexpected situations. And even though the journey had been stressful, she now saw it as a memory she would never forget. Imran was a young man who worked in a small office in the city. He was not very rich, but he was honest and hardworking. Every day he would leave home early, travel through crowded streets, and reach his office on time. Life was simple, but he often felt that something was missing. He wanted to do something meaningful, something that made a difference in other people's lives. One rainy evening, he finished his office work late. The sky was dark, and heavy rain had already started. The streets were full of water, and traffic was moving slowly. Imran decided to wait under a small shop roof until the rain slowed down. Many people were standing there trying to stay dry. Some were frustrated, some were silent, and some were talking on their phones. Imran just watched the rain falling heavily on the road. After a few minutes, he noticed an old man standing near the road. The man was trying to cross but was struggling because the water level was high and the road was slippery. He looked weak and confused. People were watching him, but no one was helping. Some were busy and some just ignored him. The old man tried to take a step but almost slipped. He held onto a pole to save himself. Imran felt something inside him. He could not ignore it. Without thinking too much, he ran towards the old man. The rain was falling heavily, but he didn't care. He reached the man and gently held his arm. He said, "Don't worry, I will help you cross." The old man looked at him with relief and nodded slowly. Together they started walking carefully. The water was strong in some places, and it was not easy to move. Imran supported him step by step. The old man was shaking slightly, but Imran kept steady. It took them a few minutes to cross the road safely. When they finally reached the other side, the old man stopped and took a deep breath. He looked at Imran and said, "My son, thank you. I thought I would not make it." Imran smiled and said, "It's okay. You are safe now." The old man placed his hand on Imran's shoulder and blessed him. Then slowly he walked away. Imran stood there for a moment, feeling the rain on his face. His clothes were wet, but he did not feel uncomfortable. Instead, he felt something different inside, a kind of peace. He returned to the shop roof where others were still waiting. No one there had seen what he did. For them, it was just another rainy evening. But for Imran, it felt like something important had changed. Later that night, when he reached home, he kept thinking about the old man. He remembered how helpless he looked, how people ignored him, and how a small action made a big difference. The next day, something unexpected happened. A young student who had been standing nearby during the incident had recorded a small part of what happened. He posted it online, writing about how a stranger helped an old man in the rain without expecting anything in return. Within a short time, the post started spreading. People began sharing it, appreciating the kindness of the unknown helper. Imran had no idea about it at first. A few days later, one of his friends showed him the post and said, "Isn't this you?" Imran looked at it carefully and felt shy. He was surprised that such a small action had been noticed by so many people. People were calling him a hero, but he did not feel like one. When someone asked him about it, he simply said, "I just did what anyone should do." But deep inside, he realized something. He understood that kindness does not need effort or money. It only needs a moment of decision. A small action at the right time can change someone's life. From that day, Imran started noticing people around him more carefully. He realized how many small opportunities to help exist in daily life. Helping someone carry bags, guiding a stranger, or just being patient with others. He didn't become a different person overnight, but he became more aware, more thoughtful. And every time it rained after that, he remembered that evening not as a viral moment, but as the day he understood the real meaning of humanity. Hamza was a young man who had recently started his first job in a small company. He was full of energy and excitement because it was his first real experience in the professional world. Every morning he would wake up early, wear neatly ironed clothes, and reach the office before time. He wanted to impress everyone and prove that he was capable. On his first few days, everything felt new. He carefully listened to instructions, took notes, and tried to do every task perfectly. His manager noticed his enthusiasm and gave him an important assignment. It was a simple task, but it required attention to detail. The manager said, "Take your time and do it carefully. I want accuracy, not speed." Hamza nodded confidently. He felt proud that he had been trusted with something important. He sat at his desk and started working immediately. He finished it quickly, feeling satisfied with his speed. He thought he had done a great job. Without reviewing it properly, he submitted the work and leaned back in his chair, feeling relaxed. He believed he had impressed his manager. But a few hours later, he was called into the manager's office. When he entered, the atmosphere felt serious. His manager was sitting with the report in front of him. Hamza immediately sensed that something was wrong. The manager looked at him and said calmly, "Did you check your work before submitting it?" Hamza hesitated and said, "I completed it carefully." The manager then pointed out several mistakes in the report. There were small errors, missing details, and incorrect information. Nothing was major, but enough to affect the quality of the work. Hamza felt his confidence drop instantly. He realized he had been too focused on finishing quickly and not enough on doing it correctly. The manager said something that stayed with him. "Speed is useful, but accuracy builds trust. If your work has mistakes, speed means nothing." Hamza felt embarrassed. He apologized sincerely and promised to be more careful in the future. That day was uncomfortable for him. He kept thinking about his mistake even after leaving the office. He felt like he had disappointed himself. But instead of ignoring the lesson, he decided to learn from it. From the next day, Hamza changed his approach completely. He started double-checking everything he did. He worked a little slower but more carefully. He paid attention to small details that he previously ignored. At first it felt difficult because he was used to rushing, but slowly he improved. His work became cleaner, more accurate, and more professional. After a few weeks, his manager noticed the change. One day he called Hamza again. Hamza felt nervous, thinking he might have made another mistake. But this time the manager smiled slightly and said, "Your recent work is much better. Keep this standard." Hamza felt a sense of relief and pride. Over time, he became one of the most reliable employees in the office. People started trusting him with more important tasks. He was no longer just fast. He was careful, responsible, and consistent. Looking back, he realized that his biggest improvement came from that early mistake. If he had not been corrected, he might have continued rushing and making errors. He understood something important about life and work. Success is not just about doing things quickly, but about doing them properly. Mistakes are not failures if you learn from them. They are lessons that shape your growth. From that point onward, Hamza never rushed just to finish. He focused on doing things right the first time, and that small change made a big difference in his career and confidence. Pause and try to retell this story in your own words. This is the fastest way to improve your English speaking.